Why it sucks to be Magikarp. You splash into existence in the murky waters of Route 32. And congratulations, you've just been dealt the worst hand in the entire Pokemon world. You're not born with the elegant grace of a Milotic or the raw power of a Blastoise. No, you're Magikarp, the punchline of the Pokemon universe. The living embodiment of weakness wrapped in orange scales and false hope. Every ripple in the water reminds you of what you're not. You can't breathe fire like Charizard. You can't summon lightning like Pikachu. Hell, you can't even swim properly without flopping around like a dying fish. Which, let's be honest, isn't far from the truth. Your signature move? Splash. Literally, just flopping around doing absolutely nothing while your opponents laugh themselves into unconsciousness. But here's the cruel joke the universe played on you. Deep in your pathetic little fish brain, you know there's something more. A rage, building like a storm behind a dam. Power that could shake the very foundations of the world. But first, you have to survive long enough to unlock it. And in a world where even Caterpie gets more respect than you, that's easier said than done. Because to become the monster they'll finally fear, you must first endure a lifetime of being the Pokemon they never respected. And trust me, that journey is going to hurt. Your story starts at the luxury cruise ship St. Anne, rocking gently in the Vermilion Harbor as a smooth-talking salesman in a cheap suit spots his perfect mark. This salesman didn't even need a Pokeball to catch you. He just picked you up. James, with his purple hair gleaming and his eyes practically sparkling with dollar signs, approaches the vendor's booth like a moth to a flame. "A golden Magikarp," the salesman croons, holding up a Pokeball that's been spray-painted gold. "Guaranteed to lay 1,000 eggs. You'll be swimming in riches, my friend." James's wallet practically flies out of his pocket. $300. His and Jesse's entire salary advance from Team Rocket changes hands faster than you can say, "sucker." The salesman disappears into the crowd before James can even release you from your fake golden prison. When Jesse and Meowth find out what James has done, their reactions are less than supportive. Jesse's eye twitches as she processes the sheer magnitude of James's stupidity. Meowth just stares at you, floating pathetically in a small tank, and delivers the crushing verdict. "It's just a regular Magikarp, you moron, and that ball ain't even real gold." The humiliation begins before you've even been properly introduced to your new family. You're not a prized investment or a beloved partner. You're evidence of James's gullibility, a $300 mistake that everyone wishes would just disappear. When the St. Anne starts taking on water and the ship begins its inevitable descent to the ocean floor, panic spreads through the corridors like wildfire. Passengers scream, crew members abandon their posts, and everyone with half a brain is looking for the nearest lifeboat. That's when James, in his desperation, finally remembers you exist. "Magikarp," he shouts, releasing you into the flooding corridor. "You're a water type, save us!" For one shining moment, you think this is it. Your chance to prove you're not worthless. Your opportunity to be the hero of the story. You're going to swim everyone to safety, earn their respect, maybe even get a decent meal for once. Then reality hits like a hyper beam to the face. You can't swim. Not really. Oh, sure, you can flop around and technically move through water, but graceful? Powerful? Capable of carrying 3 humans to safety? You might as well try to fly to the moon by flapping your fins. While James, Jesse, and Meowth cling to debris and pray for a miracle, you splash uselessly beside them, contributing absolutely nothing to your collective survival. The only reason any of you make it to the surface is pure dumb luck when the ship's air pockets create enough buoyancy to carry you all up. Even your rescue is an accident. You didn't save anyone. You barely saved yourself. Days pass on your makeshift raft. The sun beats down mercilessly. The ocean stretches endlessly in every direction. And the last of your emergency rations disappeared yesterday. James's stomach growls so loudly it sounds like a Snorlax having nightmares. That's when they all turn to look at you with a new kind of interest. Not the frustrated disappointment you're used to, but something hungrier, more desperate. "Well," Meowth says, licking his lips, "at least we won't starve." For a brief, terrifying moment, you think you've finally found your purpose. You're going to save your team through the ultimate sacrifice. It's noble, really. Heroic, even. Then Meowth takes a bite. His face immediately contorts in disgust. He spits out what little he managed to chew and wipes his tongue with his paw. "Blah! It's all bones and scales. There's no meat on this thing." You can't even succeed at being food. You're too pathetic to eat. That's when James finally snaps. $300. Days of carrying around a useless fish, the constant reminder of his own stupidity floating there in that stupid tank. Years of frustration and humiliation boil over in one explosive moment. "That's it," he screams, his face red with rage. "You're completely useless. I can't take it anymore." Before you can process what's happening, James's boot connects with your belly. You go flying through the air before crashing into the ocean with a splash that would be impressive if it weren't the prelude to your abandonment. As you sink beneath the waves, you watch your trainer, the human who is supposed to protect you, care for you, believe in you, sail away without a backward glance. He just threw you away like garbage, like you never mattered at all. But something breaks inside you in that moment. Not your spirit, your restraints. All that rage you've been swallowing, all that power you've been suppressing, all those years of being treated like a joke. It explodes outward like a dam bursting. Your pathetic orange body begins to glow with an energy that makes the ocean itself tremble. You're evolving. Your tiny fins stretch and grow into massive appendages capable of creating whirlpools. Your weak little mouth expands into jaws that could snap a Wailord in half. Your useless flopping body transforms into 20 feet of pure concentrated fury. You are Gyarados now, and you are pissed. James tries to reclaim you the moment he sees your new form. "Gyarados, return," he shouts, holding out your Pokeball like nothing happened. Like he didn't just abandon you to die, like you're still his property. But you're done being anyone's joke. You're done taking orders from the human who threw you away. Your roar shakes the very air, and suddenly other Gyarados begin emerging from the depths. Ancient, powerful beings who understand betrayal, who know what it's like to be underestimated. Together, you unleash Dragon Rage. It's not just an attack, it's justice. Every splash they mocked becomes a tsunami. Every battle they forced you to lose becomes a hurricane of vengeance. Every moment they treated you like nothing becomes a tornado of pure concentrated fury. The attack sends Team Rocket flying so far they become a twinkle in the sky. It's poetic, really. They always talked about blasting off again. Now they're getting a first-hand experience of what that actually feels like. But it's not enough. The rage doesn't stop with them. It can't, because this isn't just about James or Jesse or Meowth. This is about every trainer who ever laughed at a Magikarp. Every Pokedex entry that called you pathetic. Every battle where you were sent out as a sacrifice. The Dragon Rage spreads across the ocean, a testament to the fury of the forgotten, the power of the underestimated, the wrath of those who were never given a chance. You return to the wild, but you're not the same Pokemon who was abandoned on that raft. Freedom tastes like salt water and revenge, and you've developed quite an appetite for both. For years, you roam the deepest parts of the ocean, carrying that rage like a poison in your veins. Every trainer who approaches your territory gets the same treatment. A blast of hydro pump that could level a building and a roar that sends them swimming for shore. You've learned your lesson about trusting humans. They see Pokemon as tools, as investments, as entertainment. Never as partners. Never as equals. The other Pokemon give you a wide berth. Even wild Gyarados avoid your territory because your anger runs deeper than theirs. Theirs is instinct, territory, survival. Yours is personal. Yours is the concentrated bitterness of betrayal, abandonment, and years of being treated like nothing. You become a legend in the worst way possible. Sailors tell stories of the Gyarados that attacks without warning, that holds grudges, that can't be reasoned with. And you're fine with that reputation. Better to be feared than mocked. Better to be avoided than abandoned. Years pass. You've carved out a territory in the waters around Cerulean City, far enough from the main shipping lanes to avoid most human contact, close enough to remind them that you exist, that you remember. The Cerulean Gym sits on the edge of your domain like a monument to everything you've learned to hate about the relationship between humans and water types. Pokemon performing for crowds, reduced to entertainment, their power channeled into pretty displays rather than respected for what it truly is. It reminds you of those early days when James dreamed of showing you off at breeding centers, of making money from your supposed potential. The memory stokes that old rage, and before you know it, you're thrashing through the gym's pools, destroying everything in sight. This isn't about the gym specifically. This is about every trainer who ever saw you as a commodity. Every person who measured your worth in coins rather than recognizing your inherent value as a living being. The new gym leader substitute arrives. A young woman with orange hair who takes one look at your massive form and freezes in absolute terror. You can smell her fear, see it in her trembling hands, hear it in her rapid breathing. Good. Finally, a human who understands what you are, what you've become. She tries everything to calm you down. Water ballet performances that remind you of being a show Pokemon. Gentle words that sound like the lies James used to tell. Even a cage that feels like every Pokeball you've ever been trapped in. Nothing works because she doesn't understand the fundamental truth. You're not just angry, you're broken. And broken things don't get fixed with pretty performances and sweet words. They require something deeper, something real. Then, the invincible Pokemon brothers show up with their Tentacruel, and they do something that changes everything. They attack you with Poison Sting while you're caged and helpless, unable to defend yourself. For a moment, you're back on that raft, helpless while they debate eating you. Back in that fake golden Pokeball, powerless while James counted his money. Back to being the victim, the joke, the thing that happens to rather than the force that makes things happen. But then Misty does something no human has ever done for you. She throws herself between you and the attack. She doesn't hesitate, doesn't calculate the cost, doesn't weigh the pros and cons of protecting a rampaging Gyarados. She just acts, taking the poison meant for you without a second thought. And in that moment, something shifts in your worldview. This isn't James trying to reclaim his property. This isn't a trainer protecting an investment. This is someone willing to suffer for you, not because of what you can do for them, but because you don't deserve to be hurt. You break free from the cage with a roar that shakes the entire gym. For a moment, everyone expects the rampage to continue. The brothers, Misty, even you. Everyone thinks this is where you destroy everything and everyone in sight. Instead, you dive into the pool and save Misty from drowning. Your massive jaws, capable of crushing steel, gently lift her to safety. Your power, which moments ago was pure destruction, becomes protection. You send the invincible Pokemon brothers flying with the same fury you once used on James. But this time, it's not revenge, it's justice. For the first time since your evolution, your strength serves something other than your pain. When Misty holds out your Pokeball, not commanding, not demanding, just offering, you don't see a prison, you see a choice. And for the first time in years, you choose trust over rage, partnership over isolation, hope over despair. Your story doesn't end with revenge or even redemption. It ends with the hardest thing of all, learning to trust again after betrayal. Learning that not all humans are James, not all trainers see you as worthless, not all relationships are transactions. But here's the cruel truth about being a Magikarp. The damage doesn't disappear when you evolve. The scars don't heal just because you become powerful. James's abandonment, his cruelty, the years of being treated like nothing, they're still there, buried under all that strength like sediment at the bottom of a lake. That's why it sucks to be a Magikarp. Not because you're weak. You were never truly weak. The power was always there, waiting. It sucks because even when you become the most feared Pokemon in the water, you're still that scared, abandoned fish inside. Still waiting for the next betrayal. Still carrying the weight of every moment you were told you were worthless. Because being a Magikarp doesn't just suck because you're weak. It sucks because you have to learn that strength without compassion is just another form of weakness. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is choose to trust again.